Do you like fishing? What about mysteries? Well, what about fishing mysteries? That's exactly what we're gonna be doing today. You see, there's a game called Mystery Under Ophelia Lake, and it is essentially a fishing simulator first, and a cozy horror game second. And calling it a horror game might even be taking it a little step too far. It is mostly just a fishing simulator with a surreal and weird ending. And I can't wait to talk about it because it is genuinely pretty fun. Mystery Under Ophelia Lake is a super interesting little game. You see, Mystery Under Ophelia Lake is a fishing game, and that is actually what it is. There's no big scary monster here, at least not that you know of anyway, but Mystery Under Ophelia Lake is, in most senses, a fishing simulator. And while it can be a little bit silly at times, and I love the art style being that the cutscenes are often in claymation and some of the actual gameplay happens to be this PlayStation 2 PSX style that I personally really enjoy. Mystery Under Ophelia Lake manages to capture a really cozy atmosphere, and throughout most of the game that remains true. Even at nighttime, there's no monsters, there's nothing but you and the fish. And you better start catching them fish, because there are 33 different type of fish for you to catch. And honestly, the fishing mechanics are fine. You know, you have your throwing your line in the water, and then, the fish catch onto it eventually. And once the fish has caught onto the bobber, you'll start to pull it back. And if the fish swims against it, then you might break the line. It's simple shit, but it works. And what I find super interesting about Mystery Under Ophelia Lake happens to be the way that you get a new bobbers, as an example, as they are scattered throughout the map. But how do you get them? Well, you fish them. So when you see a new bobber, then you'll have to throw your line in and try to get your current bobber, to touch the new bobber in order to catch the bobber. It's pretty funny, and I really enjoy that. It also happens that Mystery Under Ophelia Lake has this pretty cozy atmosphere like we've been talking about. And it honestly is only enhanced by the fact that while fishing, you can find a bunch of different fish, and all of them look more fucked up than the next one. It's no secret that fish are kind of freaky looking animals, but holy moly, some of the fish in this one. And honestly, I really enjoy that. I love the textures, I love the look of it. All of that is fantastic. I also really enjoyed the green light that emits from the middle of the lake. You see, Mystery Under Ophelia Lake happens to also have funnily enough, a mystery in it, am I right, fellas? And to solve the mystery, you will need to get a better bobber, a better fishing rod than what you start out with. You can get that by, you can find the bobbers, you can get it by just finding it. That emits from the middle of the lake. Because you see, in Mystery Under Ophelia Lake, there's funnily enough a mystery. And while I won't be spoiling you what the mystery is, I can tell you that the way you figure that out is through fishing. You see, I haven't been completely honest with you about how you obtain gear. While yes, you can catch it, you can also sell the fish that you catch. And from there you can buy new fishing rods and new bobbers. So there are a certain set of them that can only be purchased through the fishing. You gotta fish up some money so you can buy that. Different fish have different values, so certain fish that are harder to catch will obviously also be worth more. But there are a whole host of interesting little locations you can go to, such as a cave, and there's even a fishing spot where you'll have to try to trick shoot your fishing line up there so you can get your bobber in the water so you can catch some koi. And maybe there's even a secret bobber up there. Wink wink. I really love the game. I think the art style is probably really what caught me, because it is very relaxing, almost reminding me of something like the 2001 Sonic games. Where it isn't like quote unquote insanely good high fidelity graphics, oh my god, but it is a fantastic little way to explain a world. It shows a lot of personality, and I love the way that the fish look. Some of them being weirder than the other ones, and there even being one that have like jar lights and stuff like that interspersed with completely normal fish. Maybe they are also normal fish, I don't know, I'm not a big fisherman. But I really enjoy that, and I genuinely find that playing through it is super fucking interesting. I do think it's a shame though, that there isn't anything like a zoom/unzoom feature while you're fishing. You see, when you're fishing, there's a good likelihood that the camera will bug out. And that's because the camera follows the bobber, so when you throw the line, you will be on the bob. And when that happens and you sink deeper and deeper into the ocean as you upgrade your bobber, thus also getting more line, you end up with this really awkward situation where the camera's in the ground, pointing up towards the fish that is coming to bite on the bobber. So you get like this really weird perspective on it. It's a bit of a shame, because it honestly does obfuscate vision, obviously. But most than that, it just kind of hurts what I consider a pretty decent little game. But I will tell you from first-hand experience, nothing hurts as much as losing your big catch. You see, some of these fish are incredibly fucking rare. We are talking they don't even come out once or twice a day. You'll have to find them every other day. It's hot here, and when you finally get a catch like that, you can be sure that they're worth between $400 and $900 Ruskies, bro. And I'm telling you, that is a lot of money in here. You see, the most expensive fishing rod costs $2,100 Ruskies. So getting a 900 check from one fish, that's pretty damn good. But I only saw the fish that gave me the $900 Ruski check once. Once, man. And the only other time I've seen something that was really valuable, it ended up getting away from me. I'm telling you though, you get really into this once you start playing it. It really does take over you. And it's one of those things where it becomes the more you give, the more you get type of deal, right? The more you give of yourself towards a Mystery Under Ophelia Lake, you suspend your disbelief a little bit and you also allow yourself to delve into it, the more you'll also get from it. And I think that's the reality with 99% of media, but I think here it is especially true. It is not a complicated game per se, though there is no tutorial. However, what it does do really, really well is this like entire fishing thing. You see, there's a bestiary in the game. There's a bunch of fish and you gotta catch them. You gotta catch them all, or rather not really. Your goal is to find the green light, or the source of the green light, I should say. But you end up with this bestiary, and at least for me, it became a semi-goal to fill that shit up. I wanted to catch all of them, I'm a Pokemon gamer. Gotta catch them all, And this time I took it literal, so I picked up my fishing rod and attempted to catch all the fish. And while you can technically do in a day fish literally every fish from the lake, I didn't do that because that was excessive and I wouldn't want to do that. But you can do it. And one of the things that I appreciate is that the lake and like the different areas you can fish, the little ponds, they have different fish. As an example, inside of the cave, that's where the freaky fish are. There's some real freaks in there that you can get. And I happen to genuinely enjoy the cave because of those freaks. Because of the fact that you can find some real weird creatures in there. Now, one thing I think is important to mention about Mystery Under Ophelia Lake that I saw being brought up in the Steam reviews is whether or not this is categorized as being a horror game. In my opinion, the answer to that is a definite no. There is almost no horror elements in the entirety of the game. I gotta admit, while the atmosphere is cozy and nice and relaxing, it isn't horrifying. There isn't that edge that keeps me up at night like there was in something like Easy Delivery Co. However, that doesn't mean that it's bad, and it's not to say that there aren't horror in it. By the end, you get some almost analog-like thing that I'm not gonna spoil more than that, other than if you go and play it yourself, you'll see. But like, there isn't any real quote-unquote horror here. I think if you are sensitive to that sort of stuff, then you are pretty good here, as there simply isn't any. And I think if you are expecting a horror game, then you're gonna be disappointed. This is a fishing game first and a horror game second, and I think that's fine. And honestly, it manages to be a pretty fun fishing game, and that is for somebody like me that doesn't like fishing. It's pretty fun. I really enjoyed Mystery Under Ophelia Lake, and I genuinely believe that it is a pretty big hidden gem out there that I think a lot of people will probably get a lot more out of analyzing than I do, because my dumbass don't pick up on half of the subtle clues that a game like this probably offers. But it is pretty fun, and I genuinely find the graphics to be super charming. I find the fishing to be super charming. I find the fish themselves to be super cute, honestly, and sometimes really charming. I like the dialogue, the way it's written. The character does this poggers face every single time you catch a fish, and he has some cheesy dialogue about it. Like, it's pretty cute. I like it a lot.